Jainandalala, Mathioli Charanam, everybody. We are going to continue our Thiruvannamalai. This is about the temple and a lot of stories relating to this beautiful, magnificent temple. First being, we'll start off with who built the temple and when it was built. It was built in the 8th century, and so many kings and emperors had a hand in it. Cholas, Pandyas, Cheras, Hoysalas, Vijayanagaras, Nayakas, many. They have all put their part, their little artistic skills, whatever they could, they have done for the temple. All of them were mostly instructed by the Lord Himself. Because can you even think of putting a brick or a stone in a temple? Forget building. Even to lay a small stone, you need that ultimate permission. So they were directed, they were chosen, and then they gave that part. Now, the Lord Arunachaleshwarar is the Lord here, and the goddess is Unnamalai Amman, and she's also called Abhita Kujambal, and she is beautiful. She's 3 feet tall. I just visited her last year in August, and she's a beauty. And this is one of the largest temples in India and the second tallest Gopuram. Now, it's 25 acres of land is the compound of this temple. And it's, of course, draws thousands and thousands of devotees and pilgrims every full moon for the girivalam. Very auspicious. Now, the town of Tiruvannamalai has 9 entrances. Navadwara. The mountain can be seen from 15 kilometers away. And behind the temple is the mountain. It's like the Lord is standing there, tall and visible to many, far and wide. The outer enclosure, the walls surrounding the temple compound, has granite walls 30 feet high. Now, Nandi, you will see a lot of Nandis placed in particular distance from each other. Now, the biggest and the Gopuram, and it's the main entrance of the temple, is on the east side, and it's called the Rajagopuram. It has 11 tiers and it's 217 feet high. Wow. Right? Now, next comes the Ammani Ammal Gopuram, which is 171 feet high. It's in the north side. And then comes the Tirumanjana Gopuram, which is in the south side, which is 157 feet high. And there's the Pe Gopuram, which is 144 feet high, which is built by Vallala Maharaja, Veera Vallala Maharaja. And this was actually the first Gopuram in this temple. But then later Krishna Deva Raya came and built the Rajagopuram, which became the biggest. Now, there's a little story about this Ammani Amman. How did she come to be and why did she build a Gopuram? There's a story behind everything, right? So why did Ammani Amman build a Gopuram? And who was she? Now, she was a very ordinary devotee, was from a small village uh, named Samudram. And her family, her parents wanted her to get married and they fixed her marriage with a relative. But she didn't want to get married. All she wanted was to think of the Lord and to be in this journey with Him. She didn't want to get married. And there are, when you see these kind of people, they don't want to get married. They want to, um, there's a journey already it's fixed, right? So they know something, there's a divine calling and they know what to do. So that being said, they fixed the marriage and everything, and she just ran out of her house and she was standing in the middle of the river. All her relatives went behind her, chased her to the river, and they saw her, and she just disappeared from there. Just went underwater and gone. A lot of them swam inside and saw if she's there underneath, got drowned or something. But nobody could find her. Not even a body was found. So they came out and then they realized that she was gone, but they didn't find the body, so they just remained there in the banks waiting for her. Third day, she emerged out of the water. She emerged out of the water. She was perfectly fine, but she's in a trance. So she sees so many people waiting, and they were shocked to see her just walking very casually out of the water. And she took the sand from the banks of the river, and then she gave everybody a little of that sand. She distributed that sand to everyone with their, in their hands. Instantly, that sand turned into puri, the puffed rice. Puri. That's when they realized she's not an ordinary person. She's clearly not an ordinary person. That's when they were taking her seriously. They let her be. They didn't force her to do what they wanted. They just let her be. Now, she was living in the mountains. She's a siddhar. She has renounced everything. Just like all siddhars, right? She renounced everything and she was living in the mountains. And Lord Shiva one day instructed her to help build the Gopuram in the temple, Tiruvannamalai. And that was the Gopuram in the north. She was very happy. Now, what she had to do, she had no money, right? Renounced everything, nothing. She has nothing. So she went from door to door to collect funds for the Gopuram, to build the Gopuram. So she went door to door and asked them, can you please give me something? This is for the Lord's Gopuram. Some believed her, some didn't. Whoever believed her were blessed. They gave they could contribute to the beautiful Gopuram, right? So they believed her and they gave her. She came and she started the work. Now, the work started, but it could not finish the Gopuram. Just the foundation and a little bit more. And she needed more money. So somebody told her that the Mysore Maharaja has a lot of money. So let's go and ask that Raja over there. He'll give it. He's very devoted to Lord Shiva, they said. So she said, yeah, let's go. And they all went on a journey to this Raja, Mysore Maharaja's place. When they reached there, obviously, it's not easy to go see the king, right? You need permission. You need to be, you should have taken an appointment. The king should have summoned you. All that is not here. She just turned up there, and how could the king see her? So the soldiers, everyone said, just wait. You cannot see the king right now. You have to wait. So she sat there in one corner. So sunny. It was very hot day. She was just sitting there in the corner. Inside the palace, the court was going on. The actual, the meeting. All the ministers were sitting and all the discussions were each day there is a discussion, right? So that was happening. Suddenly, this woman appears in the palace, in that court, in front of everybody. She appears. And the king is surprised because she's not in the agenda today. Who is she? How did she get here? Why is she here? And the ministers are looking at the soldiers and the guards. The guards are so surprised. So the main guard goes down and checks, and then he says, "Who's this lady?" And nobody knows. And then the outside guard is called out, and then he comes inside and he says, "How did you get inside? You were sitting outside. I told you to wait outside. How did you get inside?" So the king is like, so much confusion. The king says, "Come, let's go outside and see. I want to make sure what you're saying is, you know, makes sense. You're telling me you didn't let her inside, but she's already here. Someone has done some mistake. Let's go see." So the king goes out and sees whether this guard is telling the truth. When they went out and saw that the lady is sitting outside, she's still there. She's sitting outside. Then how did she get in? The king runs back inside. Now the lady is gone. She's not in the court anymore. Now they go back outside and get her inside with respect because they know this is not an ordinary lady. Now the king asks her, "What can I do for you, Amma? You've come from Tiruvannamalai, my Lord's place, and I know this is annamalayar. You could be annamalayar. You could be the Ambal. Please tell me what I can do for you." So she says, I'm building a Gopuram for the Lord. I need funds. I need your help. He said, he filled a chariot with all the things that she would need. And she said, take all of it and go to build the temple, to build the Gopuram. She was very happy. She went with the chariot and she went there and the work started again. Went almost 70%. Everything was done again. Whatever the king gave was over. No way to pay the workers. The workers need the wages, right? Now again, she's in a crossroad. She just holds her hand and prays to the Lord. Only He can come to rescue now. Says, I need to finish this. You told me. You gave me this job. Now you need to give me the means. How do I do this? That's when he says, don't, don't be sad. Don't stop the job. Continue it. Pay every worker after the day is done. Pay everyone with vibhuti. Just give them vibhuti. And I'll take care of the rest, he says. He says, okay. So work is done. She comes and she gives vibhuti to everyone. Just distributes vibhuti to everyone. Now later the vibhuti turns into coin. Depending on how much work each worker has done, the Lord has paid that person. Fairly. No bias. Equal. How much ever you've done, how many ever hours you've put, you've got the payment. Lord can never be, unfair, right? This was the true story. So that being said, the Gopuram was done with the Lord's help. Again, every time I say this, right, nothing has been built in our land without the Lord's support or blessing. He was there. He has made so many temples for us. He's built it. We are so lucky. We belong to that land full of temples. Whenever we have the opportunity, we should go visit that. Built by him, right? So that's gets another level. Now, that was the story of Ammani Ammal. And after she built the Gopuram, she attained Samadhi. Now, there is a small temple in her name in Tiruvannamalai. When you're going around the Girivalam, you will come across her temple. And it is called Ammani Ammal Temple, Kovil. So, now that is her story. It's beautiful. Now, these Gopurams, all of them were built by emperors at different times. The Rajagopuram was started, he started building, Krishna Devaraya started building the Rajagopuram, and it was completed by the Vijayanagara king, Sevappa Nayaka. So, see how everybody, I've told you, no one destroys the other king's creation. They make it better. They build and make it better. So that's why our structures are so beautiful, because whenever they do, the teamwork is done, right? It shows. The whole temple, our temples are all teamwork by all these precious kings, who have given it to us with the Lord's blessings. So it's all that teamwork, and it shows. It's beautifully standing there. There are 5 inner Gopurams, also called Kutti Gopurams, and they are 70 feet high. Now, Nandi faces the main shrine in each of its 5 prakarams. There's a sacred pool here, which is called Shiva Gangai. It's situated in the south. And this water is used for all the rituals for the Lord, for all the deities in the temple. Now, when you enter the temple from the eastern side, the first thing, the first temple, the first sannidhi you come is the Kambat Ilayanayana, who's our beloved Lord Murugan. There's a big story behind this. This was built by Krishna Devaraya, but there's a big story behind this. And that is to do with Arunagirinathar. Now, we all know who Arunagirinathar is, because I did do his story when we were talking about Lord Murugan, how he enlightened him. He tried to take his life. This is the man who fell off the Gopuram, wanted to take his life in Tiruvannamalai. He is from Tiruvannamalai. And Lord Murugan just held him with both his hands and embraced him. So, just to remind you of that, this is the same Arunagirinathar. After all this enlightenment that he got, and then he wrote with his veil in his tongue, and that's when he started reciting poems, and he gave us all this poetry, rich poetry that we have today. We're chanting Tirupugar and everything. It's all those beauties from him. Now he was in Tiruvannamalai. He kept traveling here and there. He sang in every sannidhi possible for Murugan, for all the other gods also. He was not only singing for Lord Murugan. He used to sing for all the gods. Now, mostly he stayed in Tiruvannamalai. During his time, the king of Tiruvannamalai was Prabhudevaraya. That was during the 15th century. Now, Prabhudevaraya was such a king that he loved art and literature, and he encouraged many poets and scholars to come and display and recite their poems and their artworks. He encouraged that. And every day used to be like a vira, like a big celebration, because the king just loved all this. He loved art and everything about the Lord, the praises. Most of our poems or songs are praising the Lord. whatever Lord, yeah, right? So he loved that. So that being said, his head, um, the head port of the court, the head court port was Sammandandan, was great. He was very learned. That's why he's the head of the palace. Now he has done a lot of penance and he attained a boon, the Sammandandan. He attained a boon from goddess Kali. And what is the boon? The boon is that whenever he invoked goddess Kali, whenever he will appear, will not only appear, everybody around him will also be able to see her. Ah, imagine that, right? That's a different level. So that is the boon he acquired, and that was for a period of 12 years. So whenever he summoned the goddess Kali, all right, not just an ordinary goddess, Kali, he will appear, and that period was for 12 years. That's it. Everybody go through this. Huh? What is that? Ego. He has attained the boon. Now he thinks he's great. Now I've told you, right? Once the boon is given, it will be fulfilled. Whether it is an asura, whether it is a human being, whether whoever it will be fulfilled. It will not be broken. Boon given will be fulfilled. But what that person who got the boon, acquired the boon, does with the boon is his journey and his duty. And that will be watched like a hawk and taken note of, kept in the record for the next karmas to begin. That is what we have to be very careful. We can have so many blessings, but what we do with those blessings is key, is very important. When we are going through a very beautiful period, right? We should not be, we can trip at that time. Our ego can go up and we can make mistakes. Easily mistakes can happen. During our good times only mistakes happen. Be cautious. When you're happy, everything is beautiful, that's when we tend to do mistakes. Well, look here. Samandandan also very happy, got a boon from Kali. Now fell into the trap. Ego. Why did he get an ego? Obviously, because Kali is appearing. No? Is she ordinary? Kali is not ordinary. You call her, will she come? No. But if he calls her, she'll come. Because she has given the boon. Poor Amma, she has given the boon, so she makes it happen. You deserve the boon. You earned it. So it's my duty to fulfill it. 12 years, she fulfills it, right? 12 years. Now the king has gotten to know about Arunagirinathar. Arunagirinathar is also very popular. Word of mouth is spreading about Arunagirinathar poems and the songs and various things. And people love it. And they also know Arunagirinathar was saved by Lord Murugan. And Lord Murugan comes and dances in whenever he sings. And all these are spreading, right? Like fire, they spread everywhere. He's able to summon Lord Murugan whenever he wants, and stuff like that is being, you know, spread everywhere. King has also heard it. Now the king wants to summon Arunagirinathar to the court and give him all the maryade and all the respect he deserves. It's always a honor, right, to have such a learned person in the palace. So the king wants to honor him. Both of them get it, right? He wants to honor the fort and get that honor also, that the king honored Arunagirinathar. Now, Sambandandan is not happy. With ego comes the sister of ego. Who's the sister of ego? Sister or brother? The sibling of ego is jealousy. Ego always has the sibling with him. It's jealousy. So Sambandandan became jealous. He doesn't like the king talking praises about Arunagirinathar. No, no, no. That's not good. Because he's the head of the court, right? Head court, head scholar of the court, of the palace. So he should be praised. How can the king praise someone else? That's not right. Immediate jealousy developed. The only thing he knows is whenever I call, I summon Kali, she comes. So I need to use this to my advantage. So because of this jealousy trip that he was having, he went and suggested to the king that the king should conduct a competition. Now, it was not the king doing this. It was Sambandandan's idea that he put in the king's head. He introduced that to the king. Let's have a competition. I will summon Goddess Kali. He has to summon Lord Murugan. If by any chance one of us cannot summon the Ishtadevas of each other, that person should leave the town. Arunagirinathar is not even in the competition. He didn't want to be in the competition, but unfortunately, he was pulled into a competition. Unknowingly pulled into a competition. So the king summons Arunagirinathar and tells him, please summon Lord Murugan. He did not tell him the whole detail that he'll be sent out of the city if he doesn't, you know, if he doesn't summon Lord Murugan. He didn't say all that. He said, Swami, please summon your Ishtadeva, and Samandar here will summon Goddess Kali. He said, okay. For him, it's not a big thing, Murugan appears whenever he wants. That is how much control Arunagirinathar has. The Lord becomes our slave, the devotee slave. After a point, when you attain that, where you've left the I, God is with you. Kaila potuko, Ambal will say. Swamiya kaila potuko. That is the highest level. That is what Arunagirinathar had. Murugana kaila vechindirukar. So whenever he wants, he will appear. Now the competition began. Where was the competition? Thiruvannamalai temple, the mandapam, everybody. There was so much pomp and so much marketing done. Everybody had gone and said the deities are being summoned. Who won't come? Everyone wants to see Lord Murugan. Everyone wants to see Mother Kali. So everybody were there. The word spread. Everyone came. Even without social media, the word spreads more faster, So everybody were there somehow. Crowded. Now, Sambandandan was very, very confident he will defeat Arunagirinathar. Samandanand started his song. He was summoning, he was calling out, and he was praising the goddess Kali. She didn't appear. No sign of Kali. What happened to mother? Every time, even yesterday you came. He's saying, even yesterday you came. What happened today? No sign. Apparently, what had happened was he had got a boon for 12 years, right? That got done yesterday. Hallelujah. That is called the faith. So that got done just yesterday. Just the previous day it got done. So Mother Kali is on vacation time now. No, she's not going to come. Her boon is done. Whatever she gave, she came. She kept her word. Now that it's after 12 years, she's not coming. No. But still he's a Kali devotee. He came. He did come. But she was only visible for him, not for everybody else. That doesn't count, right? The competition was that they will be visible to everyone. But that boon was done. So she came. Poor thing. Mother so kind. She came and she said, Samandanda, I'm sorry. Your boon is over yesterday. The period of your boon is over. So today, unfortunately, I cannot show up for everybody. Then that's his first step of defeat. Then he pleaded with the goddess. Amma, Taye, please somehow keep Murugan tightly, hold him tight so that he doesn't come when Arunagiri calls him. Look at this. He's trying to somehow cause a problem there for Arunagiri. So he's telling Mother Kali, after all, she's the mother of Murugan, right? He says, please keep Murugan tightly, hold him tight so he doesn't come. So Mother Kali says, okay, that I'll do for you. Now she's holding. Now her job is to hold Murugan. Because now Arunagiri's turn, right? To sing. Arunagirinathar sing. Atala Sedanar Sedanarada. That is the song she sings. I mean, Arunagiri sings. In that song, he's beautifully describing Murugan dancing. Murugan dancing and what all happens when Murugan dances. He's beautifully explaining the whole scene, praising the Lord. He says Adisesha is dancing in the Padala Lokam, and the Lord Shiva is dancing, the Parvati is dancing. Still, Lord Murugan is not coming. And then through his yogic powers, he could see that Kali, Mother Kali is holding Lord Murugan tight. Then he says, Lord Vishnu, Mamanar is dancing. Mamanar is Lord Vishnu, Murugan's Mamanar only. So Mamanar is dancing. Vanaja, the goddess Lakshmi. Mamiyar is dancing. At least if he says Mamanar, Mamiyar, the Lord will come. He thinks, right? Yes, he was right. The minute he says Lord Vishnu is dancing, Mamanar is dancing, Mamiyar is dancing, Kali saw the peacock dance. And she was so happy. She's seeing all this, right? She's seeing all this and she lets go. She loosens her grip. Without her knowledge, her grip is a little loosened and Murugan escapes. And he mounts on the peacock and gets there in the assembly and he comes through that pillar, Sambat pillar. and he shows himself, reveals himself to everybody dancing on the peacock. Wow, what a beautiful, just imagine that. Just imagine that. He's there. He got it. Arunagirinathar, without knowing he's in a competition, without knowing the consequences of the competition, wins it. They say that the radiance was so much when the Lord Murugan appears there in the pillar. The radiance was so much that the king, he couldn't bear it. He lost both his eyes. He lost both his eyes. That's what they say. The story of this incident, it says that the king lost both his eyes. He couldn't bear the radiance, obviously. Is that an ordinary person who came up? No. Because he came through a pillar, he's called the Kambathu Ilayanar. That's where he got that name. Now, Samandandan obviously was insulted, embarrassed, and so his anger towards his competition, right? His anger towards his enemy, or whatever you want to call poor Arunagiri, went up higher. He wanted to take revenge now. See, these are the siblings, they work together. Ego, jealousy, revenge. Because with ego and jealousy, if you cannot do what you want and you can't achieve what you want, then comes revenge. Because obviously you're going to be defeated. When you're defeated, you don't surrender. You get up and you want to take revenge. They all go together. Now, what did he say to the king? He said, there is one flower, Parijada flower, that is there in the Swarga Lokam. And only Arunagiri can do this. Because he's so great, right? He said. The king is like, yeah, I want to get my eyes back. So I will command Arunagiri to go and get it. If the king says Arunagiri has to go and get it. Now, Arunagiri has the power, yes. Samandandam is very correct. Arunagiri has the power. And he says, okay, and he has the power to move the life force from his body to the parrot. He chose a parrot. And he moved his life force and left his body lifeless in the mandapam, in the temple. Ramananda knows this very well, that he's going to come back. After he goes and gets the Parijada flower, he will come back. But he didn't want him to come back, obviously, right? So he comes and shows the king. See, look, Arunagiri is dead. He shows his body, dead, he's no more. The king believed him and they cremate his body. They burned the body. Now, when when Arunagiri comes back with the Parijada flower, his body is there. No, it's not there, it's gone. It's disappeared, it's cremated, it's burnt. Now, as a parrot, he goes, flies, and tells the king everything. He gives him the flower. He cures the eyes. The king's eyesight is back, but then the king is devastated to know that he's been tricked. Now, the rest of their life, Arunagiri spent as a parrot. That is what they say. Look at his life. Now, we got to know how the Kambathu Ilayanar, Murugan Sannidhi is over there. And whenever you visit Tiruvannamalai, you know that Murugan actually appeared in that pillar and gave darshan to all those people. Isn't that amazing? Like, the thought of it is so beautiful. Now, then comes the Shivagangai Tirtham. It's a large tank and the water for Abhishekam for the Lord goes from here. Now there's a Sarva Siddhi Vinayaka temple, and this is where Ramanamaharshi, they say that he stayed for a few weeks in this Sannidhi. There's a big Nandi. He faces the main sanctum, the inner sanctum. Really huge. It's beautiful and majestic. And to the west of Ammani Amman Gopuram is the garden and flowers for the pujas that are grown over there. And they also say that Mother Uma, that is the Ambal here, she performed penance because she wanted to be one with the Lord. Now, the Ardhanarishwarar form, she attained and she became one with the Lord, the other half of the Lord, after doing a penance. Now, everything there's a penance, even the goddess had to do a lot of penance. They say that even Ammani Ammal is an incarnation of goddess Parvati. And that was her penance, coming and building the Gopura. And now see, this is a penance. See how many penances goddess Uma done? Parvati. Now this penance is going around the hill, the girivalam. For so many years she did the penance to please the Lord and get to be the other half of the Lord, one with the Lord. The Ardhanarishwarar was formed here in Tiruvannamalai. Now, she became one with so Shiva Shakti happened here. So that's why they say going around the Girivalam is very auspicious because the Uma Devi herself has done it. Now, Kartika Deepam is celebrated splendidly. So I celebrated for 10 days. Lakhs and lakhs of devotees show up for this and they go around the hill. And the festival starts by hoisting the flag, Swaja Arohanam, and various mantrams are chanted, and that starts and this is during the month of Kartika. Now, on the 10th day of this um, festival, the Bharani Deepam and the Mahadeepam is lit on the same day. Bharani Deepam is lit in the morning, and the Mahadeepam is lit in the evening. And this is where they light it on top of the hill, the mountain, 2,600 feet high. And this is where the Mahadeepam is lit at the same time when the Kovil, there's a small Deepam in the Kovil is lit. And that is when the Ardhanarishwarar comes out of the temple, and that's when the lamp outside is lit. And they show a signal. And at the same time, the big lamp on top of the hill is lit. The Ardhanarishwarar comes and goes in a jiff like that. It's so fast. That's the only time once a year Ardhanarishwarar is brought out. Showing that the goddess and the Lord are one. And it happened on that day. So that is one thing that they, tell you with that incident. They bring that Ardhanarishwarar out at that time. Now the Arunachaleshwarar is a symbol of fire, right? And there is a chariot procession of the Lord Arunachaleshwarar on the 6th day of the festival, and the Mahachariot happens on the 7th day of the festival. And it's a beautiful event. The whole 10 days is beautiful. And a lot of people go just to be a part of this. And I remember Sri Amma had asked a few people to go and see this in particular. They were very, tensed about the crowd and everything, but Amma still said you should go and see it. It's an experience. And they went and they really enjoyed it. Now, the main sanctum of the Lord Annamalayar is close to the eastern entrance. The Avadayar is round and the top part is covered in gold plate. Now, near is the Meru Chakra, another one is the Lord Shiva idol, and the Yaga Shakti Amman idol is also there. Now, the Devi shrine is opposite Shiva shrine. Is 3 feet tall. It's very radiating peace. The day begins with the ceremonial arrival of the Ganga, that is the water, to the shrine, and it's brought from the southern tank and Shiva Gangai tank, and it's brought on an elephant. The elephant brings this water to the sanctum. Then there is a ritual involving waking up Shiva and Parvati in the bed chamber, and the idols are brought out, and then they return back at night to the same bed chamber. Now, a little bit about the Gopuram that was built by Vallala Maharaja. Now, who is Vallala Maharaja? We should know who and why he built it, right? That's the Pei Gopuram. It was built by Vallala Maharaja. It's from the Hoysala dynasty during the 13th century. Now, he had 2 wives and there was no kids. He had no child. So he prayed to the Lord, for a child. All the kings are like that, right? They were always worried about, we don't have a child, and who will take over the kingdom. So he wanted a child. So that was the only Korai he didn't have. He had everything else. Everything else he had, but no children. So he prayed to the Lord a lot. And one time the Lord wanted to play a small Tiruvannamalai with him. What he did was, Vallala Maharaja used to have dasis, a few number of dasis. And Lord Shiva came with a few of the devas, the Shiva Ganas, and he told all of them to disguise themselves as siddhas, sadhus, and go to each dasi's house and keep them busy. He went as a siddhar to the palace of Vallala Maharaj, and he said, I'm very tired. I came from far. I would like to have a dasi. So Vallala Maharaja is like, I have so many dasis here. Let me summon one. And he went and in person, he went and looked for dasis, but everybody is engaged with somebody. Remember, Lord Shiva already planned that. Everybody is engaged. Everybody is busy. The principle is nobody can leave that whatever person they are serving and come out. That being said, he came with a very droopy face, very sad face to the palace, and the queen saw him very sad. So Vallala Maharaja was so kind that he will serve everybody, and especially with the sadhu. He's the Lord's devotee. He has to serve him. He was feeling very sad. He came to the palace very dejected that he couldn't get a dasi for this sadhu. So he went to the queen saw him very sad and he said, what can I do? Swami, tell me, I'll do it for you. What happened? So he told her, this is what happened. No dasi is available and I don't know what to do. I can't go to this man. How do I face him? He came to our palace and we are not able to give him what he asked. The wife was so, I don't know, she something. He said, why do you worry? I'm here. I'll go. After all, serving the Lord, I'll go. And she said, I'll go. And she said, don't worry, I'll go to his chambers. And he was in the chamber waiting. So she goes and she saw him lying down. She goes and touches his feet to call him. When she goes and touches his feet, he turned into a baby in her arms. He turned into a baby, literally a baby in her arms. And she was shocked. She screams. And the king comes running and he saw a baby. He's like, "Where is the sadhu?" And she says, "I touched him and this is what happened." Then Malala Maharaja came and he wanted to touch the baby. Suddenly the baby disappears and there's a voice. The Lord is saying, "This was my Leela. Now I am your child. Don't worry. After you're gone, I will perform your rites every year." Even today, Annamalayar travels from Tiruvannamalai to perform the last rites of the Raja every year. Even today it happens. It's a big it's a big festival. Can you imagine that? It's a true story. It's a true story. He earned it. It's called the Pallikonda. It's a small town. And this is where he breathes his last. And this is where Annamalayar comes all the way and performs the final rites, the last rites of the king every year. Is amazing to even think about. Oh my goodness. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. Mathioli Charna, Jai Nandalala.